Yeah.
Hi, my name is MANPREET Kaur and I am a biology teacher. Today I am going to present a biology video lesson on the topic food chain and food webs existing in our ecosystem. So let's get started. Today we are going to learn about the concept of food chain and food web. This concept of food chain and food web is very important in understanding various interactions among different organisms and also their interdependence on each other. But before going into detail, let's have a look at some of the important terms which we are going to use in the concept of food chain and food web. As we know, food is the basic necessity of life. All organisms need food to sustain their life. According to the manner in which organisms obtain their food from the environment, all the organisms can be divided into three groups: producers, consumers, and decomposers. On the next slide, we are going to discuss all of them in detail. Producers. Those organisms which produce food are called producers. Producers are the organisms which can prepare their own food from the simple inorganic substances like carbon dioxide and water by using sunlight energy in the presence of chlorophyll by the process of photosynthesis. The examples of the producers are all green plants, that is the herbs, shrubs, large-sized trees, etc. Producers are also known as autotrophic organisms, as they have the ability to make their own food. So, all green plants are producers in the living world. Next are the consumers. Those organisms which consume food prepared by the producers are called consumers. In simple words, consumers are the organisms that eat other organisms. For example, in the photo on the screen, we see different animals and all of them are consumers. The consumers depend on producers for food directly or indirectly. For example, in the photo on screen, we see zebra eats the food from the producers directly when it eats grass. When a lion gets food by eating zebra, which in turn eat grass, so in this way lion gets its food indirectly from the grass. So we can say consumers directly or indirectly depend on producers for food. Consumers can be further divided into three groups: herbivores, carnivores, and omnivores. Herbivores. The animals which eat only plants are called herbivores. The herbivores eat grass, leaves, greens, and fruits or the bark of the trees. For example, examples of the herbivores are cow, horse, deer, camel, etc. Herbivores are also known as primary consumers as they obtain their food directly from the plants. Second ones are the carnivores. Carnivores are the meat eaters. Those animals which eat only meat or other animals are called carnivores. Some of the examples of the carnivores are lion, tiger, snake, eagle, etc. Next are the omnivores. Those animals which eat both plants and animals are called omnivores. In other words, we can say omnivores eat plants as well as meat of other animals. For example, dog, man, bear, sparrow, etc. Next one are the decomposers. Those organisms which feed on the dead and decaying plants and animal bodies are called decomposers. These are the special type of consumers. Primary example of decomposers are bacteria and fungi. Now, since we know the basic terminology, let's move on to the concept of food chain. Food chain. Anything which we eat to live is called food and contains energy. The food can be transferred from one organism to another through food chain. In simple words, we can say a list of organisms showing who eats whom is called food chain. For example, let's look at the food chain on the screen. Grass, deer, and the lion. All the food chain always begin with the green plants, as green plants are the original source of all food. This food chain shows that grass is the starting point of the food chain. The grass is eaten by the deer and the deer is eaten up by the lion. In this food chain, the grass is the producer, as grass makes their own food by the process of photosynthesis. The grass is then consumed by the herbivore called deer, and the deer is consumed by the carnivore called lion. A food chain always represents a unidirectional flow of energy. As the food chain here depicts that transfer of energy takes place from grass to deer and then to lion. It cannot take place in the reverse direction from lion to deer and to grass. Some other example of the food chains are as follows. In the food chain on the screen, you see plant is eaten by the insect, and then insect is eaten by the mouse, and then mouse is eaten by the owl. So here the transfer of energy takes place from plants to insects, and then from insect to mouse, and then to owl. Each organism occupies a specific position in the food chain. One organism can occur in more than one food chain. Food web. Usually, large number of food chains exist in an ecosystem. The network of large number of food chains existing in an ecosystem is called food web. The food web has many intercrosses and linkages among various species present in it. This means that various food chains in an ecosystem do not operate in isolation. They operate in the form of network of food chains called food web. Example of food web is shown below. In this food web, we can see a network of numerous pathways along which the food flows within the grassland community. The food web starts from the plant, which is a producer, and end in top carnivore hawk. There are as many as 5 food chains operating in this food web. In the first food chain, the grass is eaten by grasshopper, and then grasshopper is eaten by lizard, and then lizard in turn is eaten by hawk. In the second food chain, grass is eaten by grasshopper, and then grasshopper is eaten by hawk. In the third food chain, grass is eaten by the rabbit, and then rabbit is eaten by the hawk. In the fourth food chain, grass is eaten by the mouse, and then mouse is eaten by the hawk. And in the last and the fifth food chain, grass is eaten by the mouse, and then mouse is eaten by the snake, and then snake in turn is eaten by the hawk. So, in this food web, there exists a network of 5 food chains. The food web is very important as it provides the alternate pathways of food availability. Greater the number of these alternate pathways, more stable is the ecosystem. So, today we have learnt about the concept of food chain and food web. Today we have learnt a very important concept of living organisms and their interaction in the ecosystem. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Thanks for watching.